Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to show you the new Content Aware Fill, one of the new features in Photoshop 2019. Now the previous Content Aware Fill worked great most of the time, but sometimes it didn't. You had to pick your battles and often had a lot of work to do after using it to clean up the mess it made. There was a workaround using a mask, but now you don't need to. In Photoshop 2019 it just got better. Let me show you how it works. My name's Ken Fisher and this is LiveLink Training. If this is your first time at LiveLink Training, please don't forget to visit my website. And you can scoot to the bottom of any page and click the subscribe link here. It's totally free and it would help me a great deal in building up a Photoshop learning community. And you get first dibs because as soon as I upload a new video, you get to know about it. Okay, let's dig in. Like I say, I think possibly the biggest and best new feature of Photoshop 2019 is this new Content Aware Fill. The previous version didn't give you any options, it was just one click. You could keep repeating the fill, but often that didn't work and you ended up with quite a lot of remedial work to do to rescue the situation. The new Content Aware Fill gives us much more control of how it works. Now let's start by having a look at the old version, how it used to work in 2018, and then compare it with how the new version looks. Okay, first we needed to make a selection. Let's just zoom in a bit. I'll just Control and plus a couple of times just to zoom in, and then I'll spacebar drag, and I'm going to try and get rid of this little boat in the middle here. So tool of choice, let's go for the lasso tool. I can press L on the keyboard or I can go and click here in the toolbar. Okay, and I want to be on, I'll be on add to selection, and then I'm going to make a selection. So I'll just go around, I'll try and include the shadow as well. We'll go around these. We don't have to be too accurate, and then back to the start. And then what we did, we used Content Aware Fill. And then we used to go to the fill dialog. So we used to go to edit and fill. And then in the contents area here, we've got lots of different options, but one of them was content aware. And then we clicked OK, and it went off and did its little bit of magic. So if I do Control and H now, just to hide those marching ants, you'll see that it's done a pretty good job. But there are a couple of areas of weirdness going on just here and just around this area here, where it's got content from the wrong places really. Okay, I'm going to bring that selection back, Control and H or Command and H if you're on a Mac. And then let's do an edit and an undo. So we get back to exactly the same place we were before. Now the problem with the old version was, I say, it didn't give you any knobs and buttons and sliders. It was just a one-hit wonder. Now you could keep repeating Content Aware Fill and eventually you might get the fill that you wanted, but quite often you ended up with more of a mess to clear up using other tools. Okay, so how has it now changed? Well, now we've got our own menu item. So if we go to the edit menu now, we've got Content Aware Fill, so we don't have to go into the fill dialog. And this brings us up now a wonderful new task space, which gives us a lot of things. So we'll start with the tools. We've got different tools for doing things here. We've got a brush tool, and then we've got a couple of selection tools, the lasso and the polygonal lasso tool. We've got the hand tool for moving around if we zoomed in, and we've got a zoom tool if we need to zoom in. Tool options bar at the top, I'll just click on the brush tool. You can see that we've actually got a tool option for every tool, just the same as in Photoshop. And this is factory set on the brush because the brush is the most popular tool. It's factory set to subtract from selection. And we can change the size, so we can see here we can change the size, but we can also do it easily from using the square brackets just like we can in Photoshop. Now this area here, this is the workspace area. And we can see here that we've got this big green blob. Now what's that all about? Well, let me just zoom out a bit so you can see it. Well, this is the area that Photoshop is allowed to take pixels from to use in the Content Aware Fill process. So this is really good now, because we've got an area that we can actually see where Photoshop is going to get the pixels from. On the right hand side here, we've got the preview panel. And we can see here, and again, we've got a zoom slider at the bottom. We can zoom in. We can see exactly the same thing, that it's okay, but not perfect. But now what we can do is we can change how much of this green area that we allow Photoshop to use. Okay, how do we do that? Well, we can do that with the brush, and I'm set to subtract from selection. You could also use, if you wanted a bigger area, the lasso tools. But I'm happy with the brush tool at the moment, and then I'm just going to click and drag. And you can see what's happening, that I'm erasing part of this green area. And this is telling Photoshop you cannot use these pixels anymore. So if you watch this side of the screen, when I'm moving these, when I'm removing these, that it will change. When I let go, you'll see it's recalculating every time. So I'm just taking out the areas that I think shouldn't be there. So we'll take out, let's say, the boats. I don't want it to be able to use that kind of information, or the shadow. Well, let's get rid of all that. And I'm just watching all the time as it recalculates. So I'll get rid of that boat, and that's getting a little bit better actually. So let's take some of this off, because this really, the pixels that I'm after are quite, it's like this kind of water here, and not the smooth stuff that's at the back. So let's take this off. We'll get rid of that, because that's quite a smooth bit of water. Oh, and that's a little bit better. Yeah, we'll take that off the top. Well, it's getting better all the time. You can see what's happening there. It's up to you. You can just tailor this until you get an absolute perfect match. I'll just take a little bit off the bottom, and I think that is pretty cool. Now on the Content Aware Fill panel here, we've got the sampling options. Now we can change the opacity of the green, so basically we can make it 100%, but I do like to be able to see through it, and that indicates the sampling area or the excluded area. I prefer it to be the sampling area, because I think it makes sense. Then we've got a couple of options for fill settings. We've got color adaptation. This is how does it fit color wise. And say we've got none, we've got a default. Let's try that. Not really done much good. Let's try high. Oh, that's pretty good actually. That's a lot better. Let's try very high, see what that does. No, I think high is about the best one on that. Yes, I do. And then we've got a couple of options for scale. So what we'll do is, if we click on that, it will intelligently scale it to see if you can make it fit. And let's have a look. I'm actually liking that one better. And then we've got mirror, which allows you to flip the area. Just a minute, let's do that again once. Yeah, I think actually that looks an awful lot better. And then we've got an output setting, and we've got a new layer or a duplicate layer. Well, I'll send that out to a new layer. And I think that's a bit about it. Our work here is done, and we just click OK. And now you can see that we've got our background layer, which is the one we started with, and we've now got the background copy layer, which has actually got the pixels on that we've changed. So if I click on that to turn the visibility off, they disappear. And there we have it. And what I'll do is I'll Control or Command and D to deselect that selection, and I think that looks quite good. There may be an odd little bit, but there always has been, that you need to correct, but I think that the new Content Aware Fill gives us an awful lot more flexibility in being able to use it correctly and come up with a good, valid result. Well, that's it for the brand new Content Aware Fill in Photoshop 2019. For more videos on Photoshop, Lightroom and photography, don't forget to visit livelinktraining.com. I'll see you in the very next video. Bye for now.